So this icon needs to be facing, so this, yeah,
So
yeah,
we're about
all
ready.
right.
I just want to see if I should raise that mic a little bit more. So it's going to be a little closer to you when it's used. I think we can
Okay.
afford to do this and to do this. And then to straighten it out a little bit. Like so. So yeah, so when you are speaking, make sure it's really straight towards where your head
Yeah.
is.
Okay.
I think we're going to be ready. I'm going to get out of the way. Michael's going to introduce you.
Okay,
And I'm going to just hide. All right, but thank you all for coming.
all right.
Okay, grab your microphone and take it away.
All right, very good. Yeah, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first Thursday poetry event at Bird and Beckett Bookstore. We're delighted to have you here. And we're doing something that was originally scheduled for January, and then certain things intervened, and here we are in August. But for many of us, August and January are interchangeable, so keep that in mind. And I'm going to let the readers introduce themselves. Is what?
Versus August 21st, and I turned 75 and born 1950. I mean, I was wondering why January and August are interchangeable.
Well, we're going to have to. Well, we're going to. I'll work on it and get back to you. But yeah, so I'm going to let the two featured voices this evening, Shizue Seigel and M.K. Fisher. M.K. Chavez. Who's M.K. Fisher? Is a food
But
writer.
I kinda like it. It's
I
a
think
nice
that's
pseudonym,
a
one
so-
of my many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. It's kind of like the January,
So if I'm
August.
really good tonight,
Like-
I'm MK Chavez. If
Yeah.
I'm not good tonight,
Thank you,
MK Fisher.
That's the spirit. So anyway, without further ado, I'll turn things over to the two featured readers. And then after they finish, there'll be a short break to hang out a little bit, socialize, and then we'll do the open mic. So anyone who would like to read during the open mic portion of the evening, please let Jerry know. We'll write down your name, and we'll have a great time. So, all right, thanks, everybody.
Okay, well, thanks for coming, and thanks to Michael and to Eric for hosting this wonderful event that actually Jerry used to host at one time, right? Yeah. Anyway, and so the first half I'm going to be in conversation. I'm Shizue Seigel, and I'll be in conversation with MK about my debut poetry book, Courting a Man Who Doesn't Talk. And then after the intermission, then we'll have the open mic, and then we'll get a chance to sit in the audience and hear you. So I'm looking forward to that as well. MK Chavez is an Afro-Latinx writer, educator, and cultural worker. Her creative and activist life is shaped by the complexity of mixed race identity, colonization, and the struggle for collective liberation. She's the founder of Ouroboros Writing Lab, which I have to tell you is wonderful and really inspiring. A space dedicated to cultivating transformative creative practice through creative coaching, workshops, and community engagement. Her own literary work explores environmental resilience, horror cinema, ritual, and memory. MK is the author of Dear Animal, Mother Metamorphosis, Virgin Eyes, and the lyric essay chapbook, A Brief History of the Selfie. And she's been honored with awards, including the Penn Oakland Josephine Miles Award, and she's recognized as a Yerba Buena Center for the Arts 100 honoree. And she co-directs the Berkeley Poetry Festival and the Lyrics and Dirges writing series in Berkeley. So she is a wonder of many talents and great warmth. Okay, sorry.
Well, I'm really thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to be here because I am a really big fan of Shizue's. I feel like there are these gems in our community that we don't get to celebrate enough. I certainly have not gotten to celebrate you enough, Shizue. So I'm happy to be here to talk to you about your. It's so hard to believe that this is your debut poetry book because I've heard you read poetry for a long time. So it's been. It's good to know that this book is in the world. It is good to know that Shizue is in the world. Shizue, if I know some of you know her, but her work is amazing and profound, and she is just somebody who the community really needs, especially right now. And I'm going to read Shizue's bio in a moment. Shizue asked me to read a poem and to read some poems. And she said, communication, relationship. And then I started looking at my poems and I was like, uh-oh. And I certainly think I do write about communication, just, I go at it in a different way. But one thing I realized is that I haven't actually written about relationships for a really long time because I've been really compelled by trees in horror films. So it was interesting to look at my work and to see where I could find. I revisited some old work and see where, at what points in times I was writing about relationships and communication. So I brought a little poem to open with. It's short, but I felt like it was one of these milestone poems. I think it marks a special moment in my life. Eulogy for one night stands. My heart used to be a good time. It was ruckus meet, all canis canum and jump in. It lived for the rush of the unknown. I answered the door. I suffered. Wild, would-be saviors who I didn't need, wore the crucifixion thorns. Now the little butter beast has become a sacred vase of flames, red obscura, burning to be impressed or just surprised. Lepidoptera now inhabit the bifurcated, beating muscle. It's a dirt road, so much bramble in the distance. I can see it now, the politics. Who can be trusted with this precious thing? Sigh. Coitus interruptus. So you do not have to clap for me, but when Shizue reads, you absolutely have to clap. So if you need to take a vitamin or something to like really get it going, or if you need calisthenic training, treat it like a, opportunity to get your exercise in today. She deserves all our love and our applause. So I'm going to introduce Shizue formally and just say one more thing. That I've been really lucky in the last year to have Shizue in my life more often, and it is just truly a gift. Thank you, Shizue.
Mutual.
Shizue Seigel is a Japanese-American writer, visual artist, and director of Right Now SF Bay, which has served over 500 writers and artists of color since 2015 through writing workshops, events, and 5 anthologies. She is a 5-time Vona Fellow whose writing and artwork have been published most recently in Panorama Dreams and Memories, Journal X, and the Porter Gulch Review. Please welcome, big round of applause. Here's the exercise part. Okay. Round of applause for Shizue.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with. Oh, sorry.
Hold on. gentlemen.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Hey.
let me just make sure it's tight
Yeah.
enough that it's not going to do that to us.
Yeah. All right.
Tighten it everywhere we can imagine here. This seems like the main.
That is a gorgeous looking
Isn't
mic.
that a beautiful
Yes.
mic? It just matches
It
the
is.
whole array on stage here. Okay, thank you. And since I'm up here anyway, we're going to shift this a couple inches away from you so they can see you a little more clearly. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with two short poems that some of you have heard before. One of them is about the girl I was raised to be, and the other one, the woman that I became. Nice girl. I was raised to be the old-fashioned girl, the one that says, "Is this how you're supposed to do it? I'm not sure I know how. You go first. I do it wrong." Nice girls are agreeable. Nice girls are patient. We don't make mistakes or act without permission. Nobody taught us to love the terrible freedom, the wild solitude. We did everything they told us to. Be patient, they said. Compromise, cooperate, wait your turn. Hesitant and yielding, gentle flutter of downcast eyes, inside resentment builds, drop by bitter drop. Inside, the wild bitch screams. Ethnic adjustments. Get this. I'm only going to say it once. I am not, nor have I ever been, a cherry blossom queen. I did not, nor do I plan to bomb Pearl Harbor. I do not, nor will I ever, sling a camera around my neck. No, I won't walk on your back or serve green tea. Heck, I don't even like rice. Look closely. I'm not yellow, inside or out. My eyes don't slant, and in case you haven't noticed, I'm not polite. So, let's go for a walk, but don't expect me 10 steps behind. In my world, men follow me.
Thank you so much. I think those two poems are such great poems to start with. And one of the questions that I've had about your collection is about its origin story.
Yeah, well, this book started about 30 years ago. Oh, sorry. This book started about 30 years ago. At the time, I was a 40-something single mother working a corporate job, and I had been burned a few times in relationships, so I was taking a little break and sort of slowly easing back into dating, maybe. And this book began as midnight journaling to try and figure out this guy that I started dating, who seemed like the most, after these really exciting guys that took me on wild rides and then I landed on my butt. Here is this really nice, boring guy who doesn't talk. So I would come home after a date and I would sit and journal to try to figure out who the hell is this guy, It's and after a while, it started to turn. I started breaking the journal lines into lines, sort of, and just thought, are these poems? Probably not, but oh well. I was having a good time. So, but to give you a picture of where I was at that time, both economically and emotionally, steal away. From my steel gray cubicle, my eyes escape to the cool gray city unrolling below me. Here on the 27th floor, the focus is finance. Numbers rule. The bigger, the better. romance calculated by bedpost notches and zircons, leading to diamonds, leading to weddings pricier than most parents' homes originally cost. Soon enough, the thrill will sag under mortgages, SUV payments, roving eyes, clandestine gropes. Here, in this high-rise citadel, hermetically sealed, windows keep out the gunning of engines and the roar of guns, the stink of oil that fuels wars and greases the wheels that run our lives. 27 stories above ground. How many stories down through mud and sand to find bedrock? Where is the barefoot child blowing dandelion wishes by the strawberry field? Where is the hippie practicing patience in a slate-floored ashram? Where is the young mother blowing bubbles with little ones, grown now into teens, who only need me to pay the rent, stay out of their business, and be the rock they push off from? From my steel gray cubicle, my eyes escape. To where?
Your poems really explore the intersection of race, gender, generation, and desire. And what I wonder is how these layered identities inform the risks and revelations that are present in your work.
Okay, and if I'm reading, it's because if I just let myself talk, we'll be here for 3 or 4 hours. So anyway, I'm Japanese American, third generation. I was born less than a year after my family's release from World War II incarceration. Growing up in the 1950s, racism and the patriarchy were daily realities. Just, it was just there. You just took it for granted. And my parents were incarcerated at 21 and 22. They had just become adults, and they were scarred deeply. They didn't feel safe to speak freely. And they didn't feel safe around white people, but they also didn't feel safe acting too Japanese. My father joined the U.S. military intelligence in order to prove his loyalty. His father had been arrested by the FBI and thrown into Department of Justice camps. So I grew up in this atmosphere of rootlessness and secrecy. I was exposed from very young age to very different environments where I felt judged and rejected. I couldn't learn the rules fast enough before they changed because we moved again. So it was hard, but I also learned that social expectations were pretty arbitrary. They a lot of the rules that didn't make sense, they changed at the next place. So anyway, in the 1950s, both white and Japanese American communities were male dominant with very rigid expectations that most people didn't express out loud. You were just supposed to know how to behave. And if you didn't know how to behave, there was something wrong with you. Some people didn't bother communicating their needs because they felt entitled to them. So they just went after, they decided what they wanted and went after it. And they expected other people to help them. And then other people didn't have the words to express. They didn't even know that they had the right to want things. And some of this you could say, well, men were a certain way and women were a certain way. But actually, some of this is beyond gender. Some people are just dominant and controlling, and other people are more submissive or more cooperative or whatever. And to find that sweet spot in the middle, it's not easy. we all grow up with all of these assumptions and triggers that sort of interfere with us being able to find those balanced relationships. So anyway, many people just don't have the words to express what's deepest in their hearts. What they feel the most strongly. It's the most painful to say. You want somebody to be able to read your mind, and give you what you need. And that's what a lot of people think love is. They're looking for that. Anyway, so this book is about, having this new box and shaking it and poking holes in it to see what's in there. Anyway, but, in today's polarized world, we still have a lot of silence, and it's essential to be able to bridge that, especially across differences of class, race, gender, generation, culture, religion. We have to reach out to each other. So, I'm going to read a couple of poems. Some men. Some men don't talk. They let their wives do it. Some men act like their words are gold and what's said can never be undone. So they don't say a thing. Just go out back and chop up a tree, 'cause things might change, you never know. When they don't know, they just do. Go out back and work on their wall. What did I do now? He says when she cries. Well, I thought, did I say anything? No, but you acted like. Some wives feel all they have is words, worthless as pennies tossed in a jar. Words bounce off his face without leaving a mark. But the wives don't do a thing. Just sit in the house and stew, 'cause things might change, you never know. When they don't know, they just feel. They stay at home, feeling ever so small. Why didn't you do something? He says when she cries. Well, I thought. Did I say anything? No, but it felt like. So, you get a little tired of those kinds of relationships. So this is what some women start to feel inside. Mark my words. You blank your eyes when I open my mouth, close up shop like a small town Sunday, lock the door, pull down the shutters, but you can't roll up the sidewalk. My words will collect unopened like newspapers, mushing in the rain. Soon enough, I'll scrape them up, with enough milk and sugar and spice. You'll eat my words.
So, Shizue, I feel like you are really clear in the questions that you're exploring in your writing. Questions of like gender, age, individuality, and I guess it's still the question we have on here, but a little off script in that I want to say. One of the things I find so fascinating is how direct you are, both in real life, but also in this book. There's a directness. There's a directness that's present. And I'm curious about that, about what's brought you to that?
Okay. Yeah, I worry that what I write is not poetry because a lot of poetry is really obscure. And I think I try to counter that by being direct and trying to capture those moments of feeling that we oftentimes sort of cover over, like when we're going around in society, we feel resentful for a second, we feel jealous, we feel insecure. We cover it over so that we end up lying to other people And what's worse, we're lying to ourselves. So what I try to do with my poetry is sort of capture those little moments, because when we see ourselves and when we see ourselves in other people, there's a possibility of change. So, and the reason that I believe so strongly in it is I'm going to go to another answer for another question, but the reason that I think it's important to be direct is it took me a long time to claim my voice. I was a good little girl, straight A student until high school, and then I tried to kill myself numerous times over about a year and a half, 2 years, and I was in and out of psych wards getting shock treatments because in those days they didn't know enough. Psychiatrists didn't know enough to actually ask people to talk. I mean, to ask the right questions, to give people the permission to be themselves. You'd lie on a couch and they'd sit behind you, and you were supposed to spill your guts to somebody you didn't even know. And in my case, this was in a military mental institution, and the guy was a colonel. So it's like not exactly the safest place. But I simply didn't have the words to say, I'm miserable and I don't want to live the life my parents figured out for me. So anyway, after I went through that period, I married at 19, which in those days, in the early 60s, in the mid 60s actually, that was the average age that women got married, 19. So I married the wrong man just to get out of the house. But it was 1966, perfect timing for moving to the Haight and smoking a little pot, dropping some acid, and then guru hunting in India. And I developed the spiritual life, which was wonderful, but it's kind of hard work to stay there without drugs. I figured out. Anyway, so I think that's the reason that I really, I spent so much time being silenced as a kid and seeing people hurt each other through silence that I decided that I needed to speak up. So in terms of the aging and so forth, I'll read a couple of poems about that. Clearing the deck. It's not the men out here in the now that bug me. It's the ones inside from the bad old past. Long-toothed leers, sideways excuses, crawl up my spine, sear my skin, haunt my gut. I can invite my ghost to leave any time now. It's time to inhabit my own self. One's enough to fill the space between my bones. The past becomes the slate on which to trace a new life in my own hand. Seasoned. They call us cougars now, with a touch of derision or worse. They used to burn us as witches. Crones are supposed to ride broomsticks, not bikes. In ancient lore, big cats were leaders, proud, tough, scarred. We would eat you out we could eat you alive if we cared to. But we only snarl when the soulless encroach. We thrive in the wild. Leave us alone to prowl. Better yet, make us purr. So there I was, enjoying my freedom, not ready to settle down, and then comes young man in spring, threadbare, not frayed, clean and pressed, clear eyes behind gold rims, hair off the collar. Such an upright young man. He never forgets his handkerchief. Yet in the profile, a hint of the satyr, a trace of the sensual in bow of lip and flare of nostril. Classic as marble, with a dash of decadence. Then he turns to look at you, earnest and foursquare, such an innocent young man. He so believes in goodness, virtue, truth, jobs well done, but seldom advertised. He smells of libraries and choir lofts, the kind of young man mothers would approve.
Okay. Wait, where did you point to?
The
Yeah,
sorry, page 7.
no problem.
I'm sorry, this should be casual, but like I said, I run out of on the mouth if you don't stop me. So,
So speaking of, in your collection there is like there's a conversation that's going on, but we are hearing only part of the conversation. But the weight of the part that we don't hear is present in having an impact, and I'm curious about that.
okay. Well, one thing about this new young guy that I found so puzzling, I'm going, I grew up mainly around white folks. I have a lot of white friends. What is it about this guy I don't understand? Then I realized one day, Jews and Catholics are different from WASPs. White Anglo-Saxon Protestants have their own culture. And if you haven't been exposed to it, it's very different. I had to meet his family to start to understand. And he was prep school educated, which is another layer of stuff. Living the lie. Your family is always pleasant, even to each other. When they don't feel agreeable, they go away, each to their own room, their own private hollow. Get out of my sight. They hew to their own thoughts, unmolested, unjudged, coming together at night round the kitchen table to recite their daily doings in dutiful evensong. Just the facts, ma'am. Each holding forth in mundane detail, revealing nothing of themselves, even to themselves. No crosstalk, no conversation, no cross-examination. When one stops, the next begins. Eyes never meeting. Are you done yet? The only way to tell if anyone is listening is they remember what is said and hold it against you forever. But a man's silence can also hold tenderness and vulnerability. And a lot of times we forget that. Women, we have a tendency to sit around going, oh, I'm the rose, pick me. Well, what we need to understand is there's a part of every man that's feeling the same way. Wild rose. Such a gentle bloom, fragile on a slender stalk, befurred by slender spikes, it hides in the shadelands by the creek. Milky pale against the deeper greens, its moth-like leaves bound less by structure than by common inclination. Not bred for show or cultivation, or meant for captive vases. A man's heart is a shy bloom. It shrinks from close examination. But love can be expressed in a lot of other ways as well. Carpool. The whorls on his fingertips as he runs his hands across mine. Long, slow, firm strokes over my palms. across the back of my hand, gliding up each knuckle, down the valleys between, caressing veins and tendons and the hollows of my wrists. Such pressure, such passion in the pressure of knee on knee. He makes small talk to the driver as his hands make love to mine. And then making up after a fight. It's always a good time. Cupid and Psyche. Words fail me. I cannot read your face. Light tells me nothing. I see you best in darkness. Silence rises, your eyes opaque. Daily conversation slips like sand down an hourglass. But fingers carry on a deeper dialogue than I can see or say. Blindly you knead the back of my neck. Lightly I graze the curve of your arm. Nameless comprehension abides where words are useless scrawls. We're groping for language we didn't learn in school.
I'm really tempted to jump.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so because there are all these poems about love in this book. I mean, it's all love, really. But one of the things that I really appreciated about this book is that there's also love for community in this book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I wanted to just ask, what helped to shape that, and why did you include it in your book?
It's interesting.
Oh,
I don't think of this book as being about community particularly. But I think that growing up Japanese American, community is part of who we are. Family, community, neighbors, knowing that we're not individuals, we're part of a matrix, whatever that might be, is really important. I had a grandmother that, when she drove into town, she lived on a farm, so she didn't see too many people during the week, but when she drove into town, she would buy half her groceries at one grocery store and half at the other because she knew they both had to make a living. So, so I think that sense of that, we're part of something larger, just sort of pervades my work, I guess. I don't think I would be writing if I wasn't part of writing communities. And I had taken a few writing classes and found myself in groups that a lot of times were largely white and middle class. And, they seemed to be coming from what I felt was a limited experience, and I just couldn't relate. And they couldn't relate to my work either. So I started looking for other communities, and Kathleen Sullivan here in the first row was in one of the early groups that I started with, Raluca Iwanid, who was a Romanian immigrant who is now a nurse practitioner. Anyway, there was Kalechi Ubozo was part of that group also, and somehow I got some funding and I started this organization called Right Now SF Bay, and I thought, oh, let's do an anthology of writers and artists of color because there weren't that many opportunities in those days, and well, there still are not that many opportunities for writers of color, I also was looking for a voice that wasn't necessarily schooled. I love to talk to people on the street, across the counter at the grocery store. It's like hearing about people's actual lives and experiences. That's how I learn. I mean, when I was a kid, I was shy and I read a lot of books because I was too shy to talk to people. But, once I got out in the world, the people's stories is what I learned from, and just the sparkle that comes to people's eyes when they feel seen and heard, that's magic. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. It does.
Okay, well, I think we're nearly out of time, but I wanted to read a couple of poems towards the end because there's the beginning of relationships, and then there's the sort of safe middle where it gets kind of boring, and you're sort of passing each other like ships in the night and taking each other for granted. But then, there are crises that happen all the way through relationships. So here's one. Upset. We were as wed as surfer to his board, teamed as one against forces bigger than us both. Together we skimmed glassy, ever-dropping water, riding tightly on the lip, attuned to subtle necessities, ever ready for quick turns. You cambered to the slightest shift of weight, swung out beneath my heels as I leaned into the groove, until one day you tipped up suddenly and swung straight for my head. Not literally, emotionally. And then one more, sort of about differences. Girl dreams. Did I misinterpret your silent signals, misread as love those limpid-eyed moments when you were simply making laundry lists in your head? While I was dreaming in the dark at Saturday matinees, memorizing movie star kisses, and to practice on my pillow at night, you were rescuing earthworms and tracing rusty tracks of rails leading nowhere. You hewed towards the safety of structure, defined connections as bolts and couplers, every section self-supporting, unentwined and unencumbered, carefully constructed not to reveal what holds it all together. Your tongue, grown stiff from disuse, never learned how to lap and lick and lavish, never learned to babble and breathe the inmost secrets of the heart. Okay, and now, are you ready to share some?
You know what? I would love to share. I'll share one poem, and then I would love for you to share another poem, and I would love to hear your favorite poem in the collection.
Oh God, I don't have a favorite.
Well, you have a couple minutes to find one. Well, that's so funny. Okay, so this is the one I'm going to read. Oh, well, maybe not. All right, this is the one. I brought an alternative, I thought, but oh well. ABCDarian poem for my photographer. Does everybody know what an ABCDarian is? So an ABCDarian is a poem that each line starts with a letter of the alphabet and continues on until you've completed the alphabet. Another time, another life, almost mine. Bored, so let's take pictures and get caught on camera. Clever, curious, delayed relationship. Escape artist of the heart, forgive me, never forget me, forever road trip. Take off your clothes and get the camera, great pretender. Playing with the light in the hotel room, naked pics sent through the internet. Take a picture for me and I'll take a picture just for you, just my luck. Just my lust. Knot of snakes he once found in his closet after a long winter. He said they were only trying to stay warm. But a snake is a snake. Numb after he leaves. Image, obsession, can't promise anything. prints of steamy shower selfies, keen eye, quick tongue, man of many regrets, reluctant exhibitionist. Send me another, here's one for you, show and tell. Teaches me new ways to look at myself. He's distant, not unrequited, unnerves me every time. Victim of himself, says, I'm sorry that I made you sad, but look, you made wonderful art. Want, wait, whim, X-ray eyes that see through me say yes, pushing me to the zenith of worship, not of him, but of myself.
It's beautiful. Okay. So, as I said, I don't have a favorite, I don't think, but I want to read this one because, we live in this time where a bunch of really screwed up, hurt, scared men are running the world, not just this country, the whole world. And I think we need to remember that inside, maybe in a lot of cases, they have lost touch with that original child that they once were, that just wanted tenderness and love and understanding, like all of us do. And it's easy sometimes to get lost in the fear and the anger and the rage that comes up when we see the horrors that are happening around the world. But this is a poem that I read in the middle of a big crisis that my partner and I were having, where he was horrified that he was having murderous thoughts. And I'm going, I don't blame you. I'd want to kill me too sometimes. So it sort of brings back that child in all of us. Ollie Ollie, income free. Didn't you hear us call? The hiding is over. We're tired. We want to go home to warm suppers and bed and teddy bears. Didn't you hear us calling as you hid beneath the trash where the chill bit through your jacket and nipped your reddened nose? We're sorry we teased you and pretended we didn't care. Maybe you couldn't hear us over the roaring in your ears as you told yourself over and over that nobody cared. Maybe you were plotting murder and doom, exploding with ways to make us sorry and show the world how much more you are than a skinny, shy kid with tear-skimmed eyes and a runny nose. Maybe you thought if you hid long enough, we'd miss you and call out the state troopers or even the National Guard. If you hid long enough, your tears would dry and no one would laugh. Maybe someday but maybe one day you'll realize that Ollie Ollie includes you, free to come in from the cold. So, and one last short one. Cheap date. 1 soup, 2 spoons. 1 salad, 2 forks. 1 steak, 2 knives. 1 cone, 2 tongues. 1 check, 2 wallets. Repeat. Again and again and again.
Shizue, Seigel, M.K. Chavez. It's been a great pleasure. Candid, passionate statements about one's emotional state in this tormented world we inhabit. And so we're going to take a brief break, 5-10 minutes. People chill a little bit. If you're going to read in the open session, please let Jerry know and sign up. And we'll get started. Thank you both so much.
Okay. And I think MK brought some books as well. And I have this book, and then I also have anthologies, right now anthologies. So they're somewhere in the store.
We'll have a tip jar as well for the poets if you want.
Okay, all right. All right. Thank you so much. Tim.
Oh my God. Yeah, I've been. I gave up trying to call you because you're so.
No, you did call me.
Yeah, but yeah, I did get hold of you that one time. But I think about you a lot more often than I know to get hold of you.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
I figure everybody's crazy right now.
My life is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh. Here. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Are you gonna read in the open mic?
I might.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Anyway.
remind people that the tip jar is eagerly awaiting your participation in the tipping if you are moved to do that. Is this amplifying my voice? I don't know. No. Oh. Get underway for the open mic session of the evening. And we have a very eloquent young lady here making a few comments about the goings on. Yeah, so I'm going to turn over the open mic portion of the evening to Jerry, but I will read a few quick things to get things underway. There's a Mexican poet I've liked over the years named Jose Juan Tablada, and he has this poem called Peces Voladores, Flying Fish. And I've always kicked it around. I've done dozens of versions of it, and it goes, if you know Spanish or not, it sounds very nice. Al golpe del oro solar estalla en estías el vidrio del mar. So it's nice, beautiful, So it's fun to play with it, to translate, because there's so many inner resonances and things going on. And so my current favorite version of that is the dawn's first shaft shatters the golden glass of the sea. But there are a lot of variants of that. But anyway, it's one of those wonderful things, like going to late at night, if you can't sleep, you can come up with versions of it or what have you. But this is called Off Color. Phones were once as immobile as deeply rooted trees. I'm fighting to maintain the premise of my postage stamp-sized life. As Professor Hussein from Howard University said, we're in for one long slog through the bowels of racial animus. Our self-awareness is sporadic. We hardly show up for the show trials. We're ascending to heaven in gas guzzlers from hell. Our tyrant king is a fool's gold worm gleaming in the mire like a lost golf ball. Fast forward to happy hour. Make a tuxedo out of discarded pajamas. Don't give an inch. Feed your dreams. Autopsy oblivion before the body cools down. And this one is dedicated to a cousin of mine. My mother's family is Jamaican, and the theme of racial mixtures is always fascinating. To be in a family situation with a lot of different ethnic tentacles, kind of doing their thing. This is to a beloved cousin who passed away way too early. When the seedlings talked, I choose to ignore the weeds whispering intermittently. I'm going mad, but not mad enough. The grave gives birth to song after song, and brandy kicks off my backseat breakfast. It's Christmas Day, 1977, all over again. My buy now, pay later Kingston cousin drives us to Montego Bay as if his dreads were on fire. A kamikaze Grand Prix racer running the leisurely love eyes off the road. He would be dead in months, going down in the Caribbean in a small plane stuffed with ganja, knowing only that the sun would be a red giant 200 times its present size in 30 billion years. Okay, thank you. My God, I'm raining paper here. Right. And don't neglect that tip jar.
Right. Jerry Perez, our resident troubadour. You gonna sit on that? All right. Let me move this aside a little bit. Ba-ba-dum. We'll do like this. It's about as low as I can go.
It's a lesson too late for the learning. Made up sand, made up sand. In a wink of an eye, my soul is turning. In your hand, in your hand. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? Well, I could have loved you better. I didn't mean to be unkind. Don't you know it was the last thing on my mind? You got reason plenty for going. This I know. This I know. Yes, the weeds have been steadily growing. Please don't go. Please don't go. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Or will there be not a trace left behind? Oh, well, I could have loved you better. I didn't mean to be unkind. Don't you know it was the last thing on my mind? As we walk, my thoughts go tumbling round and round, round and round underneath heartbeat, a river's running underground, underground. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? Oh, well, I could loved you better. I didn't mean to be unkind. Don't you know it was the last thing on my mind? As I wake in my bed in the morning, without you, every song in my heart dies a burning. Without you, are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? Well, I could love you better. I didn't mean to be unkind. Don't you know it was the last thing on my mind? Thank you. Okay, we got 10 poets.
Can they all read at once? That'd be fun.
Okay, so Wendy.
Yeah.
All right.
This is Wendy. She's 3 years
Oh,
old.
good.
I'm gonna read her
Oh.
stuff.
Think she can sit up here? I could try to make the mic a little now.
Oh, I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read for her.
Okay.
She's just gonna hold my hand while she reads.
Okay.
Okay.
Excellent. Let's
Thank
put this
you.
at a level that works for you.
Okay. So,
I think let's get this adjusted a little
okay.
bit. This is so exciting.
It's her debut
Yeah.
reading.
Okay. I
Okay.
think that's gonna work.
So this is stuff I wrote down. I caught her saying when starting at two years old. So now she's 3 years and 4 months. Okay, so I'm just gonna read through them, little snippets. Okay. Me have booby too, one booby, baby booby. Okay. I have husband. When did you get a husband? When I born. Who is your husband? God. Floppy too, and chicken. I feed sky. I eat train. It's my poo. Dark is scary. Mouse tail, mouse nose, mouse ears, mouse feet. Swing, mouse, swing. This is her first day at a new school. One boy, he took one thing, my house fall down. What did you do? I made house again, new house. I want to go back in your tummy, mama. I hurt, I go tell mama. Sunshine growing, flowers too, birdies too, birdies too. I'm an author. Somebody's a poet. I'm a poet. What's a poet? An author of poems. Yeah, I'm that. I want to be flavor teacher first, then obstacle course teacher, then leader, then tree teacher. Dada pretend to be math teacher. I want to be math teacher. Okay, just a couple more. You're doing great. Mama, boobies is cake. Okay, two more left. Mama, 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 got your shadow. Mama, 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 got your shadow. Mama, 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 got your window. Mama, 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 mama got your window. Okay, this is the last one. So I asked her, do you want to make a show with Mama? And then she said, this episode is about Gwendy makes a show tomorrow. There's a show in a show. This is a real show. The other show is pretend. There we go. Take a bow, honey. Take a bow.
Now, I'm not sure, is this Lenta or Laura?
Oh, it's Laura.
Laura, okay.
Wow, congratulations.
Let's give it up one more time for Gwendy.
That's gonna work pretty well.
All right. Earth. Can we make a sensory homunculus of the universe in that way? Can we see, like the hands or tongue, enlarged, this planet where we live? Oh, to know that the stars are more numerous than grains of sand on Earth, and yet to know that we need to make it work here first, let's just say. The thought. A person made of sand stands along the shore dunes. It ponders the water. Could I, if my matter were otherwise? But it was built this way, with wind whipping, winnowing it to the bone. It will soon turn back into little flecks of quartz and feldspar. Thank you.
Okay, and then Yolanda.
I wrote this poem because I was reading a lot of internet news about deportations. I'm a Mexican American naturalized citizen. I no longer feel the fear of being deported, but I do empathize with the Mexican and all immigrants, Asians also. We live in a land that was once ours, proud, valiant Aztec warriors conquering other Mexican tribes like the Zapotecas, Chichimecas, Huastecas, Mixtecas, tantas tribus que no me acuerdo. Can't remember other Mexican tribes' names. Mexico, south of the border, where indigenous Mexican tribes had taught their native languages and escuelas bilingües. In California, bilingual education in English and Spanish didn't reach enough votes to continue it. What a blow to Mexican Americans, to Salvadoreña, Nicaraguan, Hondureñan, Guatemaltecan, Peruvian, Argentinian, Brazilian, Ecuadorian, Puerto Rican, Chinese, Korean, Vietnamese, Japanese, Ebonics, Arabs. Are Americans afraid that children with a bilingual education will erase English? Do the parents of monolingual children fret that their children will have smaller chance of landing a job? Do these parents in California who voted for Kamala Harris worry they won't be able to have children through other than sexual person-to-person relationships, affairs? 2. Spain was ruled by fascist Francisco Franco for decades in Spain. Couldn't kiss in public, just like in Egypt. In USA, George Lucas produced the movie American Graffiti in 1973. Film Cindy Williams of Laverne and Shirley cruising on McHenry Avenue, which is like Modesto, California, where George Lucas is from. McHenry Avenue in the 1960s, us cruising on the 4-lane big wide McHenry Avenue, joining other 1968, 1969 in their vehicles, some trying to score weed, mota, marijuana, a can, a lid, Others trying to score a date like me. Cops pretty much leaving us alone. Now it's Star Trek, the race for first colony in universe. Races which cost billions of dollars, trillions of dollars. The universe, target for anti-ballistic domes, like the domes of San Francisco City Hall, like Israel's defense domes. Meantime, on the ground, bodies emaciated, Palestinian children, their bones showing through their delicate skin in Gaza, West Bank. Homeless men and women, young, old, seniors, white, brown, black, red, trying to catch up and they're so hard to enjoy sleep. Sleeping in San Francisco, California. Just like in the 1960s, the song, Where Have All the Flowers Gone? Long time passing, where have all the flowers gone? From gone to young women, gone to young men, gone to be soldiers, gone to the graveyards. Where have all the flowers gone? When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
Okay, then Marie. Yes. If you want to read from down here, you can.
Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
I have to,
Well, except for that.
it's more light up there, but I have to, I didn't bring my reading glasses, so I'm literally going to read like this.
We'll kind of need the light that's up on the stage then, probably.
What size reading glasses do you wear?
Oh, I didn't bring my reading glasses. These are the distance glasses.
I have some if you want to try mine.
Mine is size 4.
Oh,
Let's go ahead and get you up here, but let me move this out of the way. Here, you can put a hand here. We'll have to get you behind the mic plus the bright light, so I think you should come up.
thank you.
Yeah.
Why don't you get up first and then
Yeah.
we'll try your glasses.
Does she need stuff? Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right,
great.
yeah, great. No, perfect.
Glasses?
Careful. Back off
Oh.
from the mic a little. I'm sorry.
Maybe I misunderstood. I thought you said you needed your glasses. You don't have them.
You want to try her reading glasses?
I probably can't see out of her.
Okay.
Thank you anyway for your offer. All right.
This is kind of.
Yeah, that's great.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
this is good. Just,
Hold on a second.
Oh, sorry.
I wanna
Oh,
turn it
God.
down a
Yeah,
little bit.
okay. Well, maybe it won't be so bad.
Once I get
Maybe it won't be so bad. I can see. Yeah. Maybe it'll be right. Okay. We can pick this first. This is a big print. I think it'll be all right. Whew. This is, oh. It'll be all right. I think so. Okay. Yeah, this is good. Thank you. This is a verse. It's probably a translation. Rainer Maria Rilke. But I don't know what it's from. But I found it and I just thought it was fantastic. So you must not be frightened if a sadness rises before you larger than any you've ever seen. If an anxiety like light and cloud shadows moves over your hands and everything that you do, you must realize that something has happened to you. Life has not forgotten you. It holds you in its hands and will not let you fall. Do not shut out of your life any uneasiness, any miseries, or any depressions. For after all, you do not know what work these conditions are doing inside of you. Pretty cool. Okay. This one is, see, the next one is E. Cummings, something that I've loved since I was in City College in the 60s. It looks like it says misanthropic moods, so he has a series of things here. This one is called When Serpents Bargain for the Right to Squirm. When serpents bargain for the right to squirm, and the sun strikes to gain a living wage, when thorns regard their roses with alarm, and rainbows are insured against old age, when every thrush may sing no new moon, if all screech owls have not okayed his voice, and any wave signs on the dotted line, or else an ocean is compelled to close. When the oak begs permission of the birch to make an acorn, valleys accuse their mountains of having altitude, and March denounces April as a saboteur. Then we'll believe in that incredible unanimal mankind, and not until. Yeah. That's amazing. I've always loved that one. The last one is a short verse by Hafiz, a Persian poet. I just learned because I was listening to KDFC and there was some music connected to this, and then they read the poem, and I was fascinated with it. This is a translation, of course. Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens when a love like it lights the whole sky. When a love like that, look what happens when a love like that lights the whole sky. That's all. So these aren't my verse. I have my own, but they're not finished yet. Whatever. Maybe.
How's that? Oh, yeah. I can feel it. Okay, great. I have two poems. One is a little bit longer and one is quite short, but I just noticed that they have some things in common, so I wanted to read them out loud. This first one is called Epigraph. The docent at the Haas Lilienthal house dresses just like my mother would dress for years before she died. The girlish clips restraining her hair, even the hair, spun flax, splitting. She was smaller than me, my mother. I rest her face on a ledge in my apartment. My brother has her ashes in a waiting closet. She was a terrible cook. That's an unfair way of introducing her, I'm sorry. So many things I'll never know about her. Everything. This the sort of house my grandmother lived her teenage years. She played cello, state youth orchestra, a Strad, quarter size that stood in a corner, back to me because, born, 2 of my uncles walked through its front, some glee in the destruction, some destruction. Growing up, everyone I knew retold these stories, grinning. The soiled diapers the boys used to paint their nursery walls, and my grandmother, when she entered, fainting. They exchange meaningful glances when she misses a point. They agree that she is not bright as they are, cannot reason as they do. This collusion does not save the daughter from the mother's fate. That's true. That's Bonnie Burstow. It happens a lot, sometimes a whole family. If she was weak, she probably was hungry, my grandmother. And how then, would my mother know a body could love what it takes in? In a photograph suspended in the hallway of the apartment where my grandmother died, she holds her cello in the first row of the orchestra. Hers the only face turned cheek to lens. She's looking up and toward the back at, she tells me, a boy she liked. His name lost to us, living somewhere in the mouths of his own grandchildren, maybe the masthead of his family's law firm, a placard screwed to the door of an enduring house. At the end of the tour, the docent invites us to become docents. She has an energy that's difficult to name, intense. I like it, I think. I can't tell what makes me happy. How could you ask me to? And then this last poem is a sonnet, and it's called Monticello. I grew up in Virginia, and Monticello is Thomas Jefferson's plantation. Monticello. The field hands, the kitchen maids, the house servants stoking the sweet pine flames in the sitting room with its rosebud rug, its years of smoke and debts unsettling the wool's arthritic weave. The millers in the mill whose great wheel wakes, is woken by the river's hand, and in the quarters, the grand and great-grandmothers still making silent milk. No one's breast tonight on any block except the hens. Down by the dug canal, the egret flings her hunted self into the sky, where one day an overpass will fasten its arms around the breadth of river, the overpass fenced in by mesh to keep people from stopping there to jump. Something powerful compels them. They couldn't tell you what.
Thank you, and Alice Ruga.
This is called Buried Treasure for Cliff McIntyre, the founding editor of the Haight-Ashbury Literary Journal. So there is this fish given to me as a gift, and then there was a file cabinet behind a desk stuffed with papers, and now a fish stuffed with peppers. Finally, time to move all the drawers with photos and poems pouring into my arms, and a little orange notebook. It is my friend Cliff's, written with a fountain pen, pale blue ink, some of the poems blurred with water. On the first pages, Cliff explains his cookbook, because after prison, mental hospitals, the Korean War, he started a novel, but the novel wasn't coming. So there is this fish, and instead of a novel, Cliff's recipe for pescado Veracruz. I don't like fish, but I was given one, and in my drawer, under drawings and books, is that buried treasure, the little orange cookbook. 40 years after Cliff died, found collapsed on a Haight-Ashbury sidewalk, and this fish was good. Cliff McIntyre, an adopted name. I think he was Sicilian, and this fish I liked. Crossing the river. My grandmother said I dreamed that I crossed a river without a bridge. I was only 7, the low mountains behind me. I was told the river takes one to America. I remembered I wore a sheepskin jacket with embroidered flowers to wear on cold nights. Did I want to leave? There were 8 of us. We left a few at a time from a village with paprika plants and one street. What would we pack into a suitcase? My sister Pauline took her cuckoo clock, Henry his books, Louisa 2 violins, Laura a remembered recipe for pogaccia, her butter cookies. Ida, was the smallest one with my crochet needles. The ocean was large. It was so many years ago. Yet what I dream of is how I crossed a river without a bridge.
Thank you, Alice. And Tamina.
Hi, everybody. Assalamu alaikum. Can you hear me? Yes. All right. Okay. So I'm first going to read, no, not that one. Sorry. First going to read a poem by Gaza poet Heba Abu Nada, who was martyred in October of 2023, early in the genocide. It's called Not Just Passing. Yesterday, a star said to the little light in my heart, "We are not just transients passing. Do not die. Beneath this glow, some wanderers go on walking. You were first created out of love, so carry nothing but love to those who are trembling. One day, all gardens sprouted from our names, from what remained of heart's yearning. And since it came of age, this ancient language has taught us how to heal others with our longing, how to be a heavenly scent, to relax their tightening lungs, a welcome sigh, a gasp of oxygen. Softly, we pass over wounds like a purposeful gauze, a hint of relief, an aspirin. Oh, little light in me, don't die. Even if all the galaxies of the world close in, oh, little light in me, say, enter my heart in peace. All of you, come in." And this is translated by Huda Fakhruddin. And this is a short poem I wrote after that poem. Speaking to the stars, Heba Abu Nada is now with the stars. Who told her, "Do not die"? She died, and she did not die. The light in her speaks to the stars, to the new Philistine. Stars among stars, no need for oxygen, gauze, aspirin. She sings in the galaxies of a universe opening, a portal to the light in all of us. Okay. And this is Settler Colony, 4th grade. We build mini missions of clay and sugar cubes, take a field trip to Mission San Juan Bautista to watch reenactments of bread baking and gardening. At school, we pretend we have come to California in covered wagons and swish dirt in shallow pans to see if we can find bits of glitter. Mrs. Lewis reads us Island of the Blue Dolphins, chapter by chapter, about an indigenous girl alone on an island called Santa Cruz that looks like a fish. Why is she alone? Then she reads us Ishi, last of his tribe. Why is he the last? Questions but no answers, until decades in the future when the words California and genocide come together. And I think of my immigrant feet that stand upon this genocide. California dreamin' on such a winter's day, brushing off the eraser crumbs from this earth where I stand. Everyone knows why they were the last. Everyone knows as we watch genocide on our screens in real time as we pay for it. And let's see, I'll read two more. Let's see, where are they though? Oh, here we go. Okay. Trust and love. 1. Trust is a verb, an activity, a choice. To trust in the great mystery, a wisdom, a sky beyond the sky. Ourselves, tiny beings, specks of dust in the grand weavings of a cosmos. Trust in the divine, a purpose. Look for moments of grace in the unspeakable. Become the grace. Love is everywhere, is everything and everywhere, in the air, the water, the sky, the earth. But we need to want it, to seek it, to will it into being, extend ourselves, to all beings. 2. My father knows how to surrender when he prays and how to pray when he is not praying. At 94, he wills himself to live in this world, even as he prays for the next. My mother recites Ayatul Kursi quickly from the recesses of a memory deeper than dementia. Forehead tight, she holds my hand and recites. How many times has she recited Ayatul Kursi for me and my sisters when she did not know what else to do? Trust is a verb. We will ourselves to trust. We choose to trust. On Instagram, we bear witness to children screaming, to mothers wailing over beloved corpses, to everyone hungry, thirsty, wasting away. Instant death, slow death, living death. I will myself to trust in a wisdom greater than this moment, in a love I never thought possible. As I witness Bisan al-Auda saying, "We're still alive," and MC Abdul rapping in the rubble, and teenagers dancing the dabka outside bombed-out buildings, and Khalid Nabhan kissing his dead granddaughter, calling her the soul of his soul, and Rifat al-Arir asking for a kite when he's gone, and Heba Abu Nada asking us to tell the story of Gaza. I will myself to trust every day. It's not easy. Most days I fail. Despair is treason, so I trust in the divine and ask for wisdom. I will myself to love because despair is treason. I will myself to sing the song of myself in others. Okay. Thank you.
All right, from Love Come I, prelude from Love Come I gaze at the pond, about me snow falls. Its flakes the water scar. This silence confounds me. I wonder if I spoke, if words could even emerge. It's as if my lips were stitched shut. Water muffles my mood as blood clogs a wound. I think about a cartoon. It's about commerce, a crate and a car, the car carried as if the crate cares. As a child cares for their doll, as a mom carts her child, her charge. I remember Mount Trashmore, that was its nickname. No carved stone presidents, just trash. It towered beside our usual road home. We passed it often. Virginia Beach, Virginia. When I was a kid, that was the waste option. Just pile it up. Seagulls inhabit that mountain as worms infiltrate dirt, as touch inhales touch. I dare not exhale when we kiss. As measure needs numbers, your number is not just the one. Your tongue beckons me deeper. A bad apple rues the rot of its seeds. The earth needs its core, empty or not. In space, there is plenty of space. In the earth's center, molten rock, you melt me. You siphon my heart. The center is everywhere in a place that has no bounds. Which fades faster, love or light? Perhaps the perfect beats both. You are not perfect, but perhaps imperfection is the lie. Your eyes remind me that melt is a noun as well as a verb, the sounds of the melt as delicious as squish. Photons for fun, trash gets eaten and then more gets spilled, a banquet for worms. Worms have their ceremonies too. Blood in a blender, the city's tractor eats through old houses. With their destruction, I picture my extinction. How I become not. The mist that murks over this morning, the mist that obscures the intersection. As mind obscures meaning, as asphalt steers wheels, my friend Steve is driving. We almost missed the turn. The sign fog occluded. The brake he taps and then slams, the screech of the tires, the skid of our car. In that flash, I sort through mementos of a dead language. In French, a souvenir isn't just a snow globe. Words leach out meaning until the letters become litter. I picture orgasm. Eyes nailed shut. What I utter, I can't tell anymore, but I do. My life suspended in amber, me and my precious prehistoric bug. Its wings trapped 2 million years. In a demolished church of circumstance, an altar still stands. Its art a covenant. Ashes melt in the rain as does snow. Memories that don't are as persistent as plutonium, as toxic as youthful pessimism. It didn't snow this year. Will it ever snow again? I ask an ant for advice. The ant is provisioning for a winter that doesn't and won't come, but the ant can't understand. The pools of your eyes riled not, still as a moon reflected in a rain puddle. Let me drown in your pools. Night clouds hurry, the storm impatient. I stave off the wind with my hand. Both the nightingale and cricket now still, but the cuckoo refuses to hush. Your scent still stirs the hairs on my arm, my legs, my head, my chest, my center. As would a dog, I quake to smear your scent more over the surface that is my flesh. The cuckoo that clamors, the incessant stir of a freeway, asphalt whispers all travelers dream. The art that speaks to me, the art that does not, milking the exits, blunting the drum, the bat of a lash. My illness is age, but sometimes with age, bright rips in the dark of the celestial tarp can cure the suffocating curse of anhedonia. I wish I could feel more, but then I wish I could feel less. The moon's glance chills the pond, its thin ice cracks, a chill wind glues tears to my eyes, corneal confetti. The sky is too big to hold, I protest its veneer, decorum another noun that could be a verb. The universe another sweatshop. You slap a beret on someone's head, you give their mouth a reason to bleed. The mob unruly, it pursues the spurned suitor. After all these years, you still wouldn't talk to me. I never knew that you cared. Perched on a cube, as precarious as a triangle's apex, what shape is a heart that excludes all corners? You cornered my width with that question. Where are we going? Out to eat. Where are we going? Your barbed wire skirt that is your casual cool. I don't know how to answer. In the flats, an echo of flesh tone, its bland hums hides my scars. You blast the cat into oblivion with a pitch higher than high C. You do have a voice. Not everybody does. The dust that coats the light bulb, the dust burns, I switch the light on. A maze of rivers that I can't afford to ford, to clutch towards they who is known as the guru. My archers are passing the cap for support. You paint photons for fun. The midget you stash in the folds of your cake. The plot of my horse through a huge gape. This steed, no matter is what. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, Bobby Black.
I'm reading two poems tonight by Bobby Black. The Knave Passenger. Higher? Sit? Sure. Okay, I'm reading two poems tonight written by Bobby Black. The Knave Passenger. Yet she introduced me to Mary of the Gale, she with brownish red locks, so pale was she, wearing bluish white skin, moon-kissed with sunspots from flying too high. Still she claimed a superior loyalty with me, as she stood unaware beneath a glass-stained air icon, surrounded by clover and glory, the glory of verse. The glass saint is the mystic from Kildare, patron guiding hand and quill for lyrical lines alive. She whom I love stood with all mine, under the church's glass-stained aperture of St. Bridget. This is the Paradox Apartments. Then sweet cousin Coco comes by, begging for a blues prayer, bringing a cool, anesthetic answer, while through the window a morning moon shines on silence. And in here a blood-trickle smile, coming home again. Here it comes, home at last, with the bells of saints and God, while a shadow waits in due time. So wash your shirt sleeves and sing low, with their long trains roar around the block. And tomorrow, the mountain blows, raining ash and glass and hiding all light from day.
Thank you. Okay, and Garrett Murphy.
The original World War. One follower comes along, makes a gesture of sorts, says praise to my deity, 'tis the greatest one of all. Another comes along, makes a gesture of sorts, says praise to my deity, 'tis the greatest of all. A third comes along, makes a gesture of sorts, says all praise to my deity, 'tis the supreme one of all. A fourth comes along, makes a gesture of sorts, says sing praises to my deity, 'tis the mightiest of all. And all this continues, a similar effect, and all you know what begins to percolate. What do you mean, your deity? My deity is the greatest of all. What sacrilege? Mine is the greatest deity. You're both wrong. Mine is the omnipotent deity. Says you'll all burn in Hades at the feet of my deity. None of your deities can compare with mine. Blasphemer, sinner, infidel. Needless to say, before too long, a battle of all with many fronts has occurred, and sadly continues to this day. And one can't help but surmise to oneself whether countless distances above the continual war, the various deities who have been referred to by the warriors below are shaking their heads with resignation and sympathy as they discuss amongst themselves this well-worn query. What have we done to deserve days for our followers? Some call it yesterday. Some call it yesterday. Some call it yesterday. Some call it yesterday. But it hurts just the same today. Might as well pour gas and put a match to it the way you carry on. You say, don't complain, don't get mad, don't be bitter, get over, get over, get over, you say. It happened a long time ago, you say. It couldn't have been that bad, you say. They really meant well, only doing their job, their duty, what they just had to do. It's all in the past, says you who did not have to live it, who might have benefited in the process, and for all one knows, who may have been the one to inflict it. Sure, some call it yesterday, some call it yesterday, some still call it yesterday, but it hurts just the same today. Thanks in part to you.
That's it. Thank you, everyone, for coming. And next first Thursday will, of course, be next month. How about that? It will. Yeah.
If you're not doing anything at 10 a.m. Sunday, I mean, who's got anything to do at 10 a.m. Sunday? You don't have to leave the house. You can just tune into the Bird and Beckett YouTube channel. And Alice Rogoff will be on the stage with Denise Sullivan. That's this Sunday, isn't it?
Yes.
This Sunday at 10 a.m. for an hour's conversation with Denise Sullivan. So, worth tuning in to.
So you guys get this.
Absolutely. Be happy. I'd appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you for coming, Kathy. Oh, yeah.
This is yours.
Okay, great. Yeah, because I saw it. See what her was.
Okay, so you're on staff. I see.
Oh, you're welcome.
Now I'm sharing with you.
Oh, I read about once a year. I read this year.
Right. Yeah. And this is yours too.
Okay. All right.
Where?
All right. Okay, well, thank you very much. Sure. I like the guitar playing. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna just get something up there. Yeah, I want to make sure that MK's book doesn't get lost in this book. I think one of her chapbooks is there. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. My mother's still around this time. I would never.
But okay. Thanks for the journal. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and I'm on.
I was more experienced with getting stuff out there and getting published in the 90s, and now I've kind of petered off and I'm trying to get out there again. The reason about the founder.
Okay.
The guy.
Okay. Good.
Right.
Oh, okay, right. You were DM. Okay, all right.
Okay. I kind of related to him from that story.
Get John there okay? Yeah. I'm lucky this is all